Well, my name is S. Rob. This is S. Rob's Magic magazine, and I would like to talk to you about fake experts. Now, the fake expert is an industry. Now, the first thing that happens when you mention the word fake expert is they will try to move you to alternative subjects, things that aren't on the curriculum yet, you know, like occultists like myself, which is strange. I'm coming up to my 400th book on occultism. Actually, there's a few on other subjects, but you know, more than anyone that's ever written in history on the occult. But yet, the universities would try to, of course, say, this person's a fake expert. Where the theologian, who has done far less work, and to be honest, knows far, far less, and is basically working a scam, they want to say, this guy knows what he's talking about. The biggest industry for the fake experts, the biggest industry for these people, is universities. And the reason is because in the university it's guaranteed pay. It goes, the money comes in from the government, and you've got a certain amount comes in from themselves paying. But it's a scam basically. And the reason I said that theologians is basically most of the time a con is because what you're talking about is a lot of these religions have internal teachings which tell them what it means. So they're basically just rehashing things. They're basically trying to ignore and say they don't really know things they actually do. Okay? It's basically, there's no point in it. I never really understand anyway why occultism isn't part of theology when we'll say Buddhism will be. That doesn't make any real sense. Okay? There's no real logic to that. But there's not meant to be. Because a fake expert is what they say. Is what I've said, a fake expert. Like, for instance, creative writing people. Okay? Most of the people who are teaching creative writing can't write creatively. At least they can't write creatively very well, because if they could, they would then be working writing creatively, but they don't. What they do instead is, if you can't become a professional writer, professional author like I am, what they do is, or you've done it for a while, and you have the right background, that's important, basically speaking. If you want to work in a university, it's very helpful to have that private school, you know, or a boarding school behind you. It's good. And you're clever enough to pick up the degrees, then you're aware you can get in spite of the fact you don't actually know what you're talking about. And that's right, they don't. They have no idea what they're talking about. But you've also got other subjects as well, you know. And I mean, any subject where people are just asking someone questions and then expecting the person to tell them the truth and base it on that is going to be dodgy, okay? People lie. Everybody can lie, okay? I am actually a blue banana. See, that was a lie. See, people can lie. And because people can lie, simply asking them questions won't get you the truth. That's no good either. And it's the same with most of these things. But the thing is as well is that they tend to attack other subjects, you know, quite cleverly. Although, granted, they all use the same way. And the method is, what they basically do is that they will attack it using any subject matter at all. So they'll say, if, say, the science is rock solid, they will say, well, yes, but, you know, from a historical perspective, there isn't really enough database and things about this. That's what they do. That's how they work it out. Or they'll say, well, you know, because we're not really sure from a sociological standpoint, anything that can do to attack it. So, say, a lot of this they tend to use is physics. And the reason that is because physics has probably got the highest grade of proof in any subject, okay? The only problem that is really I have with it is that, basically speaking, the physical world, all we know is our own thoughts, okay? Something's only known if it's experienced, okay, or someone tells us an experience, which means that basically all there is human experience. But if we put that to one side, which is a big thing, okay, if you understand that all there is human experience, and that means that anything you hear or say, you can be a little bit skeptical about it because you know that it's just your experience. It isn't necessarily any truth. You know, there isn't necessarily any way to work out absolute truth, okay? But they will use that. So we'll say, yes, well, we don't have enough data for this. But the thing is, a lot of these subjects that they will attack are subjects that are either new or where they're doing something different. A lot of subjects that they attack are things that are connected with folkloristics or folklore. And the reason that is because folkloristics is easy to have a go at, in spite of the fact it's actually an academic discipline. Which means that basically any physicist probably could basically go through that most of the sociology departments, probably the creative writing departments, it could go through the anthropology, archaeology, probably bugger up most of the academic disciplines, because very few of them have enough physical data, even if any exists. Okay, but you know, be careful of the fake expert, because they will always have, the true fake expert will have great credentials. Okay, because it's a system. It is a whole system behind them. So you'll get, oh, this person's at this university and they've this and that. And the reason is, it's just they're handing it to each other. It's like an accreditation mill, okay? They're all accrediting each other. That's what you're talking about, you know. So when you think fake expert, you know, be careful, okay? Because basically what you're talking is the credentials are always good. It's very simple. Just think about it and think, what are their source of evidence? What's the source of data? Can they actually do this? Have they actually done it? Okay? Do they actually work in that? Do they have skin in the game? I think is a word there that Nassim Taleb uses, but maybe a slightly different way. You know, are they actually there? Do they benefit from this or lose something? If something happens, it doesn't work, you know, do they lose in some way? And most of the time they don't. The fake experts don't lose. Okay? The fake expert can be wrong and nothing happens. A good example of a fake expert would be, I won't mention the university, but a guy who was a composer, or at least he lectured in music, I should say. And the Queen came to that university and he composed something so bad that he had to resign and leave the country. Okay, I'm not saying what the guy's name is, because he's no better and worse than anyone else. There's many of the other ones out there that are just as bad. And he couldn't compose anything. It was terrible what he composed. He was a fake expert. Okay, and it was a good university. I don't think this was a bad university. This was actually a good university that he worked at. So beware of the fake expert. But I'd like to talk about magic as well, okay, occultism. And that is, occultism is real, but look for the people who actually have skin in the game, people who do it. See, I live from my books, from the writing of my books, from occultism. So I benefit from it. But it's quite simple. It means that if it was all crap, I would starve. Where other people can't say that, you see. It comes down to that very simple thing. That's what I live off. That's my living. Okay, I have skin in the game. If it doesn't work, I'm in trouble. See, that's how you can tell that I know what I'm talking about. If something doesn't work, I lose. See? On top of which, I've got, you know, a history, a background of writing, well, more books than anyone else has ever wrote in history on the occult. You see? That's the thing. But, you know, the fake experts are out there. Beware of them. They are in all subjects, especially universities, you know, but they are there, okay? My name's S. Rob. This has been S. Rob's Magic Magazine.